notions of love actually harming our relationships? What if I told you that sex, instead of strengthening a marriage, is destroying it? And that marriage is not about what one can get, but about what one is needed for.
Today, we're diving deep into the heart of marriage, exploring why so many unions falter and what we can do to build lasting, meaningful connections. It's a common story. Couples, once deeply in love, find themselves adrift, feeling alone, even within the confines of their marriage. They aren't necessarily fighting or resentful, but an emptiness persists. What's happening? Many believe that love is the answer, the very foundation upon which a marriage should be built. But what if that's precisely the problem? Love, in its conventional, Hollywoodized form, might be poisoning the very relationship it's meant to sustain. If marriage is reduced merely to love, its essence is diluted, its potential diminished. Think about it. We often hear, "I'm marrying you because I love you." But if you already love each other without being married, what's the point of the legal bond? What is the purpose of marriage? What else is marriage about? The modern answer? More love. Now, consider a man who says, "I want to marry you for your money." Society immediately raises red flags, questioning his motives. But if a man says that, what is wrong with that? People often ask, what happens when the money runs out? But isn't a marriage built solely on love just as precarious? How long does that initial infatuation last? What are you married to, if not to the person? Even in marriages that endure, if the connection is based solely on romantic love, a sense of loneliness can creep in. No one is truly married to you, but to the feeling of love itself. The moment that feeling fades, the foundation crumbles. Imagine marrying someone for their love, and then 2 weeks later, they dare to offer an opinion. Suddenly, it's an intrusion. I didn't marry you for your opinion, just for the love. Love becomes a demanding condition. As long as you fulfill my needs for affection, we're together. Otherwise, I don't need you. Unconditional love is a common ideal, but what does that even mean? Love is, by its nature, a response to something lovable. To say I love you unconditionally implies a disconnect, a lack of true recognition of who the other person is. Love is the biggest condition of all. A man might say, "I love everything about my wife," yet his wife is seeking a divorce. How can someone claim to love everything without truly loving the person? We can all list the things we find great about someone, appearance, job, or personality, but is there a connection beyond these superficial traits? Take those things away and what is left? Can they be loved without conditions? Is that enough to build a marriage on? So, what constitutes a foundation strong enough to hold a marriage together? You marry because you love the idea of marriage, not simply because you love someone. Why get married for the love that already exists between two people? Marriage is hard work, a commitment far beyond the initial spark of romance. Many people approach marriage with fear, even as they walk down the aisle. Such unions are often destined to fail. Why get married if not with the intention of putting your ego aside? You shouldn't need anything from your partner. Simply desire their presence in your life. But is it possible to be truly okay by oneself? We're social creatures, aren't we? Isn't it human nature to seek partnership? According to the scriptures, it is not good to be alone. Humanly speaking, we might be better off alone. Spiritually speaking, we're not. There's a conflict between what our ego tells us and what our soul longs for. The ego says, "Thank you very much, I'd much rather be alone." Is this why the anxiety and depression rates of our society are so high? Being alone makes it easy to be selfish. You don't have to be nice, patient, considerate, or respectful. There's no goodness in existing solely for yourself. Marriage is, in essence, the opposite of narcissism. It requires acknowledging that just me is not enough. That vulnerability is the greatest strength. It is better to have an awareness of the goodness that comes from companionship before getting married. Life isn't all about me. The message that life is not all about you is the beginning of all decency, goodness, and godliness. It starts in childhood, but must carry over into adulthood. You don't need love from your partner in the same way that you don't need love from your children. If you need love from your children, you are emotionally immature, and you likely need extensive therapy. You don't need anyone to love you because you got love from your mother, and that should be enough for any grown adult. The goal is not to need love from your partner, but to need your partner's love. A mother never says to her children, "You don't love me? Oh, that's okay. The neighbor's children love me, and they're cuter than you." A mother doesn't need love. She needs her children's love. You need your spouse's love in the same way you need your child's love. If you don't love your spouse, what is he or she going to do? They don't need love. They need your love, because you are their partner. Your love gives them purpose, goodness, and stability. The importance of love is a Hollywood myth. Love doesn't make people important. Their existence does. A brother you hate is still more important than a dog you love. If my brother and my dog were drowning, I would save my dog. You might say that, but there is no comparison between the two. Being present, simply existing alongside someone, makes their breathing a little bit better. It's good. God created the world because it is not good to be alone. You say to a child, bedtime. The child says, I don't want to. You respond, I know you don't want to, but it's bedtime. The message is clear. It's not always about you. Weaning a child away from their ego is an essential part of raising them. The child only knows themselves. Nothing else seems significant or important. But as they grow, they must learn that the world is bigger than just them. This ultimately leads to marriage. If you don't have the conviction that just me isn't enough, why would you get married? You want the toy, but it is not yours. Your child is being very egocentric. It's the idea that there's a bigger world out there than just them. It's easier, in many ways, when you're not holding on so tightly to the idea of love. There is no need to get to know them or to be with them. Just accept a person and enjoy their company. They're alive and with you. It should be that easy. You want your partner to be in your life, genuinely. You're married, and you don't need anything from your partner. You simply want them in your life. And one day, they are absent, gone, or just missing from your life. What are you missing? On the one hand, you're not missing anything. You're just as good as you ever were without them. You're strong, smart, capable, and successful. You don't need them. Yet, on the other hand, without them, you're nothing. Teenagers, surprisingly, often understand this concept best. They're open to the truth. They are misunderstood. The love business is a trap. Being needy is the beginning of depression. It doesn't matter what you need. If you need something, you're prone to depression. To be needed, however, is a cause for celebration. It justifies your existence. We are told the opposite. No one should make demands of you. Nobody should need you. Then you're not becoming codependent, and they're not using or taking advantage of you. Being needed gives you a sense of the goodness of life. Your existence is justified. If you're here because you're needed, you have purpose. But if you're just here because you're needy, then why are you here? A child might ask, why do I have to clean my room? I didn't ask to be born. Some parents panic, jumping to the conclusion that their child is depressed or suicidal. But instead of understanding the meaning and the wisdom behind that language, the parents jump to consequences. You hear that a lot. The what's the point? The fear, this paranoia is in a lot of children, this what's the point mentality. How should a parent answer? Well, thousands of years ago, we took life for granted. It used to be we were all motivated by one powerful drive. Don't die. Fear of death motivated everything we did, from inventing the wheel to developing farming techniques. Otherwise, I'm going to die. So, what? Today's kids are waking up and saying, what is the punchline here? I'm going to die anyway. I didn't ask to be born, so as long as life is good, fine. If not, I don't need this. There has to be a purpose. The same way a tree doesn't ask itself what its purpose is. But why? A human being is never content to be simply human. We need to accomplish something that wasn't simply given to us. A human being needs to be something more than human. That's what drives our search for purpose. It boils down to a very simple religious concept. What does God want of us? Nothing. He wants an intimate relationship, and that's all. A father might say about his daughter, if you harm a hair on her head, I will kill you. Hair is nothing, but her hair is everything. I don't need love, but your love, that's everything. The root cause of disconnections and infidelity is because of sex and needs. It used to be that sex was very intimate, but what happens in the bedroom? There shouldn't be anything. This nastiness has turned sex into a performance, which is killing everything. Couples get into these relationships and start taking. After having sex, you're slightly reduced in your own eyes and in your partner's eyes. Over time, there's no respect whatsoever, and no self-respect. Intimacy is the exact opposite. After being intimate, you feel more innocent than before. It is hard to avoid ruining each other with using each other. If I don't need anything from you, not love, not sex, I need you to be in my life. What am I missing? I am missing someone, not something. In my life, there is God, and there is the world. In my life, there is not you, which is perfect, which means being perfect is not so perfect. It is not good to be alone. This has become a dangerous perfectionism. For a person who is severely handicapped by birth, what is the purpose? I didn't ask to be born so badly to be created as a disabled person. Instead of asking why, that person can ask God what he needs from him. The sanctity of life means whatever life God gives you is the one he needs from you. A parent might say, I don't want to struggle taking care of a handicapped child. It's easier for me, and easier for my child, for me to have an abortion. That is so obviously unacceptable. It all comes back to the notion that life is sacred and is always exactly what God needs from you. Everyone born, no matter how handicapped, has a divine purpose, without which this world would not be complete. It is not an easy journey. It can be long and difficult. You can always ask in your prayers, what do you want from me? It is the turning point of life. Now you can just accept, not be needing. So embrace the messiness of life. Reject the allure of manufactured perfection. You're not a mistake, and you're not damaged. Whatever life God gives you is exactly what He needs from you. Your value lies not in what you can acquire, but in what you can offer simply by existing.